Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Thursday.
Different ways to try to connect with Santa these days, you know? Used to be just a few different avenues. Now there are many different ways. They say that he only works one day a year, but that's not counting all of the appearances, the photo ops, video messages, phone calls, and of course letters. Very busy season for the big guy. But I was hearing yesterday about parents being able to sign their kids up for text messages from Santa. Can't be something new, but a new concept to my brain, and it made me laugh. Only because I pictured what happens in the off season. You know, when Santa's not quite so busy. Is he still going to be sending text messages? Could be like, hey, what are you up to? I'm kind of bored. Or like getting a little bit upset with the missus, perhaps. Might be starved for human contact up there with all the elves. Maybe might have some stuff to get off his chest. Like, you up? She said the milk and cookies were really showing lately, and I haven't had any in months.
It's time for Cruz Music News with Steve Reeve.
The Cure have got a new film that's about to show up December 11th. It's called The Show of a Lost World, and this is coming as a bit of a surprise. Now, about a year ago, they played their new album, Songs of a Lost World, to a very small crowd, 3,000 individuals, and in fact, the crowd filled with star-studded individuals. Boy George, Ed O'Brien of Radiohead, Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day, and other celebrities. But then it was at the beginning of November that they revealed that during that night, there was some cameras that were capturing the event, and now it's being turned into a live concert film / movie, and of course a physical release after the fact for the super fans. Tickets are going to be going on sale soon. The trailer is available for anybody who wants to watch. A rare piece of music has been unearthed. Ozzy Osbourne teaming up with Madonna for a duet called Shake Your Head. Now, this song did actually get released, but with Kim Basinger singing the secondary part of the duet, or the Madonna part of it, and Ozzy Osbourne still doing what he's doing. But the eldest son of Ozzy, in a rare interview, said that there is a copy of this Shake Your Head remix by the American band Was Not Was, releasing with the Kim Basinger vocals in place of it, but that Madonna's vocals still exist. Not sure exactly where to listen to it. I tried to find it, but I guess it does exist somewhere and might be revealed and unearthed for everybody to enjoy at some point in the near future. The internet's a crazy place. They can dig up anything. The Darkness are back as well. They're announcing a big UK arena tour, their biggest in 2 decades, with the debut at the gigantic London O2 Arena. Whether they'll be expanding that to North America or elsewhere in the world remains to be seen, but there's some promise there. And that's it for your music news this morning. I'm Steve Reeve. Ratings are in, or at least the numbers. For the Grey Cup, the audience grew in 2025 by almost 500,000 people, which is pretty impressive, saying that the total was up to about 4 point some million, and last previous 2 Grey Cup games, a lot closer to 3.5 million people tuning in. And as for the reach and the exposure across the country by region, of course, naturally, the areas where they had teams representing them in the game had the highest percentage. So Prairie's Western market, about 41%, 40% in the English Montreal market, and 28% in the French Montreal region. So tons of people tuning in. However, you also have some information coming in from the stats from different regions, saying that, for instance, the Maritime provinces having the lowest percentage reach together at about 12.7%, which I found was interesting. You know, like about 1 in 10 people on the East Coast interested in watching when the Grey Cup was going on. I don't know if that's just a lack of love for football, lack of love for the CFL, or just the fact that they were probably just way too busy shoveling themselves out from far too much snow.
Friday.
Banff, I guess, just moved their sign to a far better spot for visitors to be able to walk up and take photos. I mean, yeah, we've got some photo op stuff like that. We don't really have a sign like that. And maybe not quite as much of a draw without the mountains as Banff is for tourists. I do understand that. But we got some cool stuff up here. But I digress. They really moved it so that it would be safer. Something the locals, never do is walk up to and take photos. But a great many people do that. I do find it funny, though, because on the news, it was like the unveiling ceremony this morning. They had the sign all wrapped up like a Christmas present, which is cute. And then, of course, they unwrapped it and, made the big reveal. But as I understand it, It's the same sign. They just moved it because tourists were, getting out of their cars for photo ops along a very busy road, and it was a concern, so fix that problem. But it is kind of like grabbing something from around the house, wrapping it, and giving it to someone for Christmas, isn't it?
Why would somebody wrap up a cat in a box?
She gets confused, Rusty. She's old. She and Uncle Louis don't have much money, so she takes things from around the house, wraps them up, gives them away as presents.
Great. Can't wait to see what I got.
Gotta celebrate the Keanu Huskies. Go Huskies right now. Men's volleyball team, as you might have heard in the news this morning, are currently number 1 in the national CCAA rankings with a 6-0 streak after recent games at home at Keanu. Incredible. Best in the entire country. And team had been second and third in earlier polls, just climbing up. Now on the road for a few different games. And hopefully staying undefeated. In fact, they are only one of 2 undefeated teams left in the conference. 18 of the 23 sets they've played this season, they have won, and now they're on the road. 4 straight matches close out this first semester. So against the Medicine Hat Rattlers, the Briarcrest College Clippers, that's this weekend. They are on the road, so don't get your tickets for home. They won't be available, but you can watch road games at acactv.ca, and we have the full news story with all this information and more right at the website, cruiseradio.com. Go Huskies!
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
Shocker, but Dave Grohl's in the news again. Well, it's because he's teamed up with Gibson Custom to launch a limited edition guitar. Only 50 models have been made of the Alpine White version of Dave Grohl's iconic DG 335. Yes, DG for Dave Grohl. And each one going to be signed and sold for way too much money. Would be nice. We can drool over it, though. Eminem is in the news because of a collaboration with the video game Hitman. In a very confusing reveal, it looks like you team up as the player character, Agent 47, with Eminem to take down his alter ego, Slim Shady. I'm sure no one will be confused by that. And another group that we don't really get to hear on the cruise airwaves that often, Spice Girls, may be coming back. At least that's what Melanie C. is hopeful for. She's optimistic of a reunion in 2026, says we're talking and we're seeing what opportunities are out there. I feel like this has become too regular of a thing now. I think they need to wait a while. There's got to be years in gap between reunions like this. Otherwise, you're just kind of a functioning group. You're just kind of a touring act at that point. It's like every year we hear a new Spice Girls reunion. Used to be exciting. Now I'm just like, why don't you just reform? Why don't you just be the Spice Girls? I'm going to get off my soapbox. That's it for music news this morning. I'm Steve Reeve. We all want to save a buck at the holidays for sure. Different advice comes out this time of year. There's 1,000 different articles. But this little clip has been making the rounds. People have been losing their minds about it, coming from the fine people at Fox News. So, take it with a grain of salt or 10. But this was a guest that was coming on to some show, some segment, and talking about ways that you can save money for the holidays. Basically saying, forget grandma. She's not important. She can take care of herself. I'm paraphrasing, but here's the clip.
Budget. You need a plan. Also remember, adults don't need gifts, okay? Focus on the people in your life who are age 3 to 18. Grandma doesn't need slippers. If they don't live by you, don't get them a gift. Now's not the time to spend and break the bank sending packages across the country, Dana. Focus on the people in your life, ages 3 to 18. That's my 30 seconds for you.
Jade.
Oh, Jade. No, Dana, I guess. She's trying to tell her that you don't send your money across the country in a package for loved ones. What a crazy concept. Who would do that? I don't know, like most people? Dana? Jade? You guys seem to be a little bit out of touch, but I think there is wisdom there. Don't break the bank to do it. Maybe you do need to limit the number of names on your holiday shopping list, and the more removed and distant the relatives and friends are, maybe it's just a kind gesture. Maybe something that doesn't cost any money. Maybe you just let them know that you're thinking about them, right? I do get that. But just forget grandma, she can take care of herself. I absolutely think that you can hear everything that the other person wants to say in the delivery of just this name alone.
Jade.
Jade, absolutely we're taking care of grandma.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruz FM.